Hi, friends, and welcome to the May 20th, 2023 edition of the Astro Energy Astrology Show podcast with me, your astrologer in Orlando, Florida, Shelley Overton. I wanted to say thank you for joining me, and I'm going to just go over quickly what's going on this week because time is limited as what seems to be per usual these days here in my world. But I want to make sure you have something to watch this week. So I'm going to go over what is coming up for the week and what to expect and how it might play out in your world. And we're going to get going really quickly right now. So today is May 20th, Saturday. And this morning we had Mars go into the sign of Leo, which is my Venus sign, 2 degrees Leo. So I have Mars on my Venus right now. And what that means for all of you who have early degree signs, actually any sign with planets in early degrees, they're going to be aspecting the Mars. Currently, because Mars is at 0 degrees and Pluto's at 0 Aquarius, they are in opposition. And that means that there may be some distinct conflict going on. Pluto has been wanting us to really pay attention to our values. It is a planet that digs deep, goes internal, does bring out deeper emotions. And Pluto is the sign that rules, or the planet that rules Scorpio, which is a sign of strategy around war. Mars in Leo is a fire sign, and Mars is a fire planet because he naturally rules Aries, which is in positive aspect now to Aries because Mars is in a sign he likes, which being in a fire sign, Mars can explore and take action, do much more than he was doing in Cancer. Mars in Cancer, which is mine, literally just got off of my Mars at 27 Cancer. He is now in fire energy, but he was in water. And of course, a fire energy in water is kind of like his kryptonite. So we had been dealing with deep emotions. Weather patterns actually have been pretty strong with Mars in Cancer. Venus is also in Cancer right now, and Neptune is in water, Saturn's in water, South Node's in water. Yeah, there's a fair amount of water, but it's not all of the sky. There's a lot of earth and a lot of fire. Earth and fire for the visual would be like a volcano creating new earth, a volcano, molten magma and lava going out and cooling down into new earth, creating new earth. So that is the energy we have now. We are creating new earth and new territory. The fire energy of Mars will be forcing us into a new creative energy and pushing us into something that is going to bring something positive and playful. It can bring something new because, of course, early degrees of a sign means new. Mars is action and forthright qualities. And there was a trine between Neptune and Mars until he just moved out. So that was the idea, the dream, and wanting to take action towards the dream. Now Mars is in Leo. He's actually going to get a creative download. Spirit, which I talk about. I mean, you could call it anything you want. I'm Buddhist. I believe in the universe. I believe in conscious energy. And so it translates, I suppose, to God, but it's not exactly the same thing. But conscious energy source comes in, and we do have this kind of mystical quality of pushing us on another path and wanting us to allow information to come through our lives. Definitely Aquarian energy with Pluto is very psychic. It's intuitive, but it's claircognizant, which means we get downloads from the collective. And so I just, for your benefit, created a few of these arrows so you can understand what's going on. The red arrow is Pluto opposite Mars, and then I'll talk about the others as we get to them. But currently, the Pluto opposite Mars energy is in the red. And so we have this polarity of value, of strategy, of wanting to create a major shift. And Mars is in Leo wanting to connect one-on-one with someone. This is a very small scale one-on-one friendship level. So this can affect friends. it is the ruler of children. It can affect our relationship with children. And then Pluto up in Aquarius is talking about the collective. There is an idea of how to take action with people we know, with those in our immediate environment, and make it something larger for the collective. So this could also mean that something's going on a grand scale. I'm not sure if the G7 summit is still going on, but even if it's not, there is still universal or world energy going on with Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius rules the collective. Pluto, again, is about strategy, about values. It is legalities, government, law and lawyers. So we're seeing that energy, and then we're seeing also the creative side of things. So this is a really strong energy about creating something new, strategizing what we want to have happen, and doing it on a small scale with effect of the greater scale. So, even say the writer's strike, I haven't kept up with that either. So I apologize. My news is probably lagging because I do not pay close attention these days. As much as I'm a news hound, I don't go as deep because it's just too much negativity. And I just find that my days are much happier when I don't get caught up in the emotionalism that can sway us all. Anyway, so my news maybe is a little lacking. I haven't had a lot of extra time either to look up at the news stories, but we've got pretty intense Pluto opposite Mars energy going on right now. Mars is going to be a significant planet for the time he's in Leo, which is, I believe, about a month. Let's look that up. So yeah, it's going to be about a month and a half-ish. It goes into a new sign early July, and that would be Virgo. Of course, that means that education is going to be kind of coming in, and work is going to get more intense at that time, which you would think right in the middle of summer it would slow down, but actually is going to ramp up. Anyway, while Mars is in a fire sign through July, mid-July, we're going to feel this intensity of drive and the wanting to connect to another romantically, the wanting to connect, or the desire to connect to children, friendships, and also our artistic side and our creative, artsy, craftsy energy. It is the sign of actors. So you may find that life is more dramatic, especially opposite Pluto, which rules Scorpio. And Scorpio is a very black and white dramatic energy as well. So there's a lot of drama going on, at least for a couple weeks, while this is an exact opposition. On the 21st, Sunday, the sun enters Gemini, and then there's a trine between the sun and Pluto. There is a moon in Gemini, and that is square to Neptune at n degrees. So the sun at early degrees is going to be squaring Saturn, and then at n degree moon is going to be squaring Neptune. So Saturn and Neptune with the sun in Gemini and the moon in Gemini is all about talking about what words are going to bring. Are we walking our talk? And actually, Gemini is a fairly cooperative energy to Mars. The sun will be in positive aspect to Mars, and that is going to bring a lot of action from words. And so it's walking your talk. And let's see what else. The moon goes into Cancer later in the day at 11:28 p.m. And then immediately it in conjuncts to Pluto, quincunx to Pluto. And that's going to be a lot of energy, water energy. It could be also storms. So having a moon energy in a water sign, and then in a negative aspect to Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius is electrical, but Pluto is water. And then the energy of the water joined with the moon in Cancer could bring more storms and electrical thunder, lightning kind of thing. And that's Sunday night. And I just, let's see. Yeah, so you can see on this chart that the sun is at 29 degrees and 40 minutes of Taurus right now as I'm recording this. And so that's digging into the earth energy and really showing up our thoughts on traditional ways of looking at things. As he goes into the air sign, we're going to reinvigorate the storyline that we've had with Mars in Gemini. And also the moon has been there in the last day. We've had Venus recently in Gemini. and Mercury going direct now is heading through Taurus, which is tangibles. And when he gets out of there, which is in about 2 weeks, around the 12th, Mercury gets into Gemini. So that's really kind of wrapping up the Gemini season. But the sun going into Gemini is going to be 30 days of the same kind of duality. And this is about ego. So the ego wants what it wants. It wants both to have its cake and eat it too, which is going to be kind of the theme and the storyline that we're going to see while the sun is in Gemini. And then there will be boundaries because, of course, Saturn squares the sun when he immediately goes in. And then as he exits, Neptune will be squaring his energy, which means that ideally he may want to have his cake and eat it too. But on the way out, first on the way in, he's going to have to look at the tangible emotional damage that comes from that. And on the way out, there will be kind of a watery emotional fallout as well. Monday, the moon is in positive aspect to the Mars in Leo energy, but then Mars in Leo squares Jupiter before the end of the day in Taurus. So I've got that here. Well, I don't have the moon aspect, but the orange line is Jupiter squaring Mars. And so Jupiter expands Taurus, expands tradition, and expands our ideas around money and love and what that means. And as he squares Mars, Mars is very romantic, very action oriented, very sex driven. So there could be a friction coming from traditional conservative romance versus taking action in a very passionate way. And Jupiter in Taurus is enhancing the energy of flowers and courting, and and also with money, having a good solid banking system, being conservative with our money, while Mars is very generous and very free flowing with money. Leo is the sign of gambling, and Mars is triggering our gambling nature and our risk taking. So these two energies are at odds, from conservatism and free flowing energy. Personally, definitely Jupiter can enhance the shift and change and the transformative energy of wherever he's at. So I'm looking at this saying Mars is going to bring us the passion and insist that Jupiter do something. Keep in mind, Jupiter rules Sag, which is a fiery energy. So Mars is talking to the fiery nature of Jupiter, and Taurus is trying to rein it in. But the ruler of Taurus is Venus, and she's in Cancer, and that's a little bit reined in as well, a little bit conservative. So there's kind of, I would say, a stew of emotion going on and desires with this square. That happens Monday. So we're going to be triggered with passion versus our heads. I kind of like head versus heart. But Taurus is very sentimental. So there may be a sentimental energy being triggered by this particular aspect. Tuesday, we have the continuation because Mars squares Jupiter overnight via the time zones. So it's going to be early in the morning, Eastern time zone, 1:13 a.m., 10:13 p.m. Pacific on the 22nd. And then happy birthday to my sister on May 23rd. Not a whole lot. There's a conjunction of Moon and Venus. So it's going to be we're going to want to spend more time around the home and closer to mother, home, and family. Moon sextiles Uranus in Taurus. Again, there may be some energy of being aware of money, being aware of where the money goes around the home life. And it's a very positive aspect between the moon and Uranus. Wednesday, Moon enters Leo, adding fuel to the fire emotionally. And Moon squares Jupiter in Taurus in the mid-afternoon Eastern. And there is a conjunction of the Moon to Mars at 3:21 p.m. Eastern, sextile of the moon to the sun at 5:31 p.m., and then Venus squares Chiron, which is the wounding in Aries. So there may be something going on at home with women squaring the energy of a brash male energy, as well as possibly a bully. Chiron in Aries just is very driven to do their own thing. It can be very self-centered and childish and tantrum oriented in its nature. And so we'll potentially see some friction going on between men and women, husbands and wives, mothers and sons, or any variation of the male female with authority and home and family, or potentially, because it is mother, that's an authority figure. And Chiron in Aries is the youthful child energy. Okay, the 25th is, oh, I did want to say there is, even though there may be some friction going on Wednesday, it is going to be, I think, an embracing, friendly energy on some level, that we may have actually more fun on that day. And there may be some kind of, the friction may bring out a sense of excitement and pleasure from what the energy is doing. And Mars, again, in Leo, is very frisky. So some of you will have a lot of fun with this energy. Okay, Thursday, it's a little bit more low key. There are only two squares between the moon in Leo, one with Chiron in Taurus and one with Uranus in Taurus. So again, it's that same kind of brash, passionate energy at odds with the conservative side of us. Uranus is wanting to make the change. Mars is wanting to do it quickly and with a flourish. So authority figures, it is the sign, Leo is the sign of leaders. So there may be some type of dramatic event that changes a rule or changes how we look at money or a situation within the markets on that day. Okay, and then coming up on Friday, the 26th, we have Moon in Leo still. He is squaring Taurus overnight, and then it goes void, of course. And right after that, we have Venus sextile to Uranus. So Venus in Cancer, sextile Uranus in Taurus. Again, home, family, making a move towards money. If you're going to be moving with the Jupiter and Taurus energy, Venus is finances and desire, the kind of house we desire, and in positive aspect to finding money for a potential of buying a house. And then the moon enters Virgo after that at 11:05 p.m. and ends the day on Friday with a quincunx to Pluto in Aquarius. So even though it's a quincunx, moon in Mercury is ruled, our moon in Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And that means that moon will answer to Taurus and Venus energy, and that is Cancer. So there's kind of a duplicate energy of, there's an energy of that Cancer awareness of home and family, Mercury of the mind around conservatism, and Cancer tends to be a bit more conservative with money and very aware of having security around money. So that's probably going to be an overarching theme for Friday. And then the sextile of Venus to Uranus, like I said. And then Saturday of next week, the moon is in Virgo. There is a trine to Jupiter in Taurus. It's going to be more conservative, but there is a square to the sun. So there may be two options that we have to consider. And the moon is going to want to do the one that is the most responsible, reliable. Definitely work for what it is that we want to do. I'm just going to point out, this is a little late, Venus and Uranus is the blue line. And then the green arrow goes to Mars in Leo. And then we pointed out here with the orchid colored, the plum color pink line is Sun at 29 degrees of Taurus. I don't see any, I mean, other than the Pluto opposite Mars, which is, of course, a war aspect, and there will be major friction for a while. And it's fiery, it's air energy, it's emotional, it's driven. And it also will bring change, which is Aquarius, but also thought through change, which will ultimately, as Pluto gets back into Capricorn, bring us an idea of what we need to do to change our conservative viewpoint, which is going to be Pluto in Capricorn for the summer. So Pluto in Capricorn is going to give us a chance to revisit the old unbending ways, because we now have to bend, and we're going to see just how unbending situations seem and address that situation over the course of the summer. Okay, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please check out my website, angeliczodiac.com. If you are interested in a private reading, I'm available for that anytime throughout the week. Just let me know and we'll arrange a time based on our mutual availability. And yeah, that's all for the week. Thank you so much. Like, comment, share, and subscribe down below. Take care. Bye.
Baby, I like you raw. I like you raw. I like you raw. I like you raw. Shimmy, shimmy, out, shimmy, in, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Up on a natural charge, boom, barrage. Yeah, from the home of the Dodger Brooklyn squad. Wu-Tang killer bees on the swarm. Rain on your dollar ass disco dome. You didn't even touch my skill. Gotta have one killer bee and he ain't gonna kill him. Jot that down, pass another round. Lyrics get hard, quick cement to the ground. NENC and then your 52 states. I get psycho killer, Norman Bates. I produce a slam. I was like, damn, jump on stage. I did.
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at Astro Energy Astrology Show.